Hey, what's up, everybody? Mr. On Demand back again. Google makes Android development private and will continue open source releases. Google says that this change will simplify things for developers and OEMs. Let's go ahead and take a look at this and let's talk about this a little bit more. Google is planning a major change in the way it develops new versions of the Android operating system. Since the beginning, large swaths of the software have been developed in public-facing channels, but that will no longer be the case. This does not mean Android is shedding its open source roots, but the process won't be as transparent. Google has confirmed to Android Authority that all Android development work going forward will take place in Google's internal branch. This is a shift from the way Google has worked on Android in the past, which featured frequent updates to public AOSP branches. Anyone can access ASOP, but the internal branches are only available to Google and the companies with a Google mobile service license, like Samsung, Motorola, and others. According to the company, it makes this change to simplify things, building on a recent change to trunk-based development, as Google works on both public and private branches of Android with two fallout of sync with respect to features and API support. This forces Google to tediously merge the branches for every release. By focusing on the internal branch, Google claims it can streamline releases and make life easier for everyone. When new versions of Android are done, Google says it will continue to publish the source code in ASOP. As always, supposedly this will allow developers to focus on supporting their apps without keeping track of pending changes to the platform in ASOP. Licensed OEMs, meanwhile, can just focus on the lively internal branch as they work on devices that can take a year or more to launch. This change to private development doesn't come out of the blue. Android feels less open today than it did in the early days. For example, Google has been moving Android features from AOSP into closed source packages for years. This gives Google greater control over the platform while also making it easier to update core components without the full OS update. Currently, most Android development takes place in the internal branch, but a handful of components like Bluetooth and the kernel are developed in the open. They'll be moving to internal under the new system. This change will undoubtedly make development easier for Google's team, but it could limit how much we know about Android before new versions are official. Sometimes the tidbits that appear in AOSP can point to upcoming devices, features, removals, or changes to app support. We may not get those insights anymore, and consequently, there won't be as many opportunities for devs and users to challenge Google before it rolls out an unpopular change. Even if there are some negative consequences, the average Android phone user probably won't know anything about the structural change. Google will reportedly have more details on the shift to private development later this week, and the change could go into effect as soon as next week. Well, what's this all mean? It just means that Google is taking more and more ownership of Android. They're closing it down more and more so they have more control over every single part of it. They don't want anybody to know what's happening or what things are going on in the OS except for them until they decide to let people know. At the end of the day, this is not any kind of big news to me. I've told everybody for years, Google is moving more and more into a version of Android that they control completely. They really would love the Android OS to be more like the Apple OS. As a matter of fact, Google has been working on another OS as well that they wanted to actually take Android's place, but it doesn't look like that's going to be possible because of Android's popularity. So many people are using it, and it's in so many devices that it's really, really hard for that operating system to really be taken out of the equation. The same is also true for operating systems like Microsoft Windows. It's got such a large user base that it's really hard for it to be taken out of the equation. Unfortunately, for for them, we still have the ability to have an open source operating system called Android that allows us to sideload and load whatever apps we want, unlike the Apple operating system where you have to do what Big Brother tells you with the device you paid hard and good money for. You don't get any say. You can only install stuff from their app store, and that's pretty much all you get. So at the end of the day, I really like having the option of something like Android at the very least, for me to be able to install pretty much any program I would like to on it, and not be locked down to being told what I can do with the device I bought. You guys have a great day. Hopefully this was a fun, good article for you. And if it was, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. If it wasn't, let me know down below. And I'll continue to try to find better articles and do better jobs in the future for you. You guys have a great day. Talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.